Amidst the fast-changing society brought about by rapid urbanization, characterized by technological advancement, land conversion, and major infrastructure developments, it is ironic that a large proportion of the growing population are in their miserable state. Oftentimes, the most marginalized group is the urban poor sector, who has no security of tenure, leaving them no other option but to live in high-risk settlements, mostly in slums. Majority of them are also deprived of access to decent housing, water, sanitation, and other basic services. In spite of the availability of financial services from private financing institutions that could potentially upgrade slum dwellers' physical environment and housing conditions, these low-income families could not still afford to access formal credits. These pressing issues prompted some urban poor communities to organize and demonstrate self-help process to improve their living conditions. In the Philippines, the Homeless People's Federation Philippines Incorporated, a national federation of 200 urban poor communities, uses savings as a tool to address issues on land tenure, housing, eviction, and disaster. Its support NGO is the Philippine Action for Community-Led Shelter Initiatives Incorporated, which provides a range of technical support on legal, technical, finance, and research and documentation. Together, they form the Philippine Alliance with a basic thrust of promoting community-driven processes in all its undertakings, where people take an active role in savings mobilization, land acquisition, enumeration, disaster intervention, upgrading, and housing initiatives. Through the support of Slum Dwellers International or SDI, the Philippine Alliance was chosen as the third local partner to implement the Community-Led Infrastructure Finance Facility or CLIF. CLIF is an international program that supports organized community associations towards housing and slum upgrading solutions. This finance facility also aims to leverage greater public and private resources to bridge finance gap that would enable organized communities and implementing partners upscale their demonstration infrastructure projects. CLIF is funded by the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency or SIDA and Department for International Development or DFID, and being managed by a UK-based NGO, the Homeless International. The first country supported by CLIF program is India, and second is Kenya. CLIF Philippines intends to provide affordable and decent housing for low-income families through a loan, building on city-level engagements with public and private institutions, citywide savings and upgrading initiatives, and the presence of a citywide urban poor network called the Iloilo City Urban Poor Network, where the main reasons for choosing Iloilo City as a potential testing and learning ground for community-managed housing initiatives. CLIF Phase 1 in Iloilo City has two sub-projects. First is the Cabalaka Demonstration Housing, which commenced in 2007. In this project, 21 core shelters were constructed for vulnerable group and pioneer savings members of Cabalaka Homeowners Association. People's process in all aspects of the CLIF project cycle, from planning, housing design, procurement, labor management, construction supervision, and overall project management have been tested and replicated in the second larger scale of CLIF housing. The second sub-project is a community-managed resettlement housing in the 16.2-hectare government resettlement site in San Isidro, Haro, which is intended for 172 families affected by the Iloilo Flood Control Project, one of the mega infrastructure developments in Iloilo City. As a response to increasing cost of construction materials using conventional technology as experienced in Cabalaka project, the alliance linked with JF Ledesma Foundation Incorporated for the application of an alternative building technology known as interlocking compressed earth blocks in San Isidro project. This is one of the Alliance's innovative strategies to reduce construction costs by maximizing Cliff loan, which further benefit the target families. Considering Cliff participants' varying income and affordability levels, the Philippine Alliance has formulated affordable loan packages which target different income categories in Cliff San Isidro. The Philippine Alliance played a vital role in overall management of Cliff project, which is in part a result of its flexibility to engage and link with various stakeholders. In Cliff implementation, the role of communities, government, academic institutions, and the private sector are crucial factors which ensured easy facilitation of the project and lower down project cost. Iloilo City Urban Poor Network has been an active partner in Cliff social preparations because of its organizing and mobilization capacities as well as its proximity to grassroots communities. Communities' participation is fundamental in all aspects of the Cliff project. They are the ones who set their house design priorities, which are expressed and captured during housing design workshops. These design priorities are eventually formalized by professionals to come up with a final plan. Hands-on training on plan reading, procurement, and actual construction are likewise conducted to capacitate communities in preparation for their community-based tasks in project implementation. The community also provides the labor counterpart, which they have to comply either through savings or sweat equity from family members. Land component, site development projects, technical and various logistical supports are the government's major counterpart. A pool of student volunteers and young professionals from different academic institutions are being tapped as well to provide technical assistance on participatory housing design, actual construction, site supervision, site planning, research, and documentation. Likewise, the Alliance mobilizes students from partner universities in regular ICEB hauling to help reduce the labor cost.
Ang actual work experience sa mga estudyante sa project sang HPFT mas nakapadalom sang ilang pag-insyende sang kondisyon sang aton nga mga informal settlers.
To date, 21 housing units in Cabalacca Phase 1 have been completed and turned over to its members. Actual loan repayment of these low-income families has been ongoing since 2009. In Cliff San Isidro project, 43 ICEB units have been awarded to the first batch of qualified housing participants. While the construction of 88 units for the second batch is still ongoing, social preparation activities for the remaining 41 members are simultaneously conducted by the Iloilo City Urban Poor Network. Learnings gained from the first phase of Cliff project implementation in Iloilo City are now being replicated to potential Cliff expansion communities. Through learning exchanges and Iloilo team's technical support, cities such as Mandaue, Kidapawan, Digos, Davao, and Montalban are already on the pipeline for the anticipated scaling up of Cliff for the second phase. Social preparations and technical-related trainings and workshops for Cliff expansion communities were already conducted in preparation for the actual Cliff project demonstration in each city. This year, the Alliance targets to implement 16 new community-managed infrastructure projects in 8 cities and municipalities for Cliff Phase 2. Delivering Cliff housing effectively at a required scale while ensuring that the community is at the center of the slum upgrading effort pose a lot of challenges to the community and Cliff local implementing partners. One of the major challenges is the community's difficulty to balance the demand of coping with the labor equity requirement and the need to get involved in community trainings and workshops, procurement, and construction-related activities. Also, the absence of stable income is a key constraint for many Cliff housing participants, which affects their loan repayment rate. Finally, the Alliance needs to strengthen its organizational capacity to leverage additional public and private resources such as land, technical assistance, and infrastructure services in order to sustain CLIF initiatives.
The city government has been strengthening this partnership. It is my hope that we will continue to strengthen this partnership so that through our collaboration we will be able to do more for the urban poor sector.
CLIF project has indeed brought significant impacts to the lives of the poor and the most vulnerable group.
Dako gid ang nabulig sang clip sa amon kay diri makita mo ang balay mo nami na mabakod ka hindi nagidelikado bisan magbagyo pa ma-safety mo na gid ang pamilya mo.
More importantly, CLIF project demonstrated and proved to government, private sector, and other stakeholders that mobilizing and merging resources together is critical to the development of an adequate and sustainable housing for the poor while taking such initiative to scale.